Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger, is brought to you by Geico, 85 years of savings and service. Texas Lottery, play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. And by Whataburger. Stop on by Whataburger and try the patty melt today. It's an all-time favorite for a reason.
It is the return of Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger, inside the Globe Life studio here at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. Of course, this high school football season started pretty much a month ago, back on August 26th. But every team in North Texas is now entering district play. In fact, some district games were played as early as last week as well. So we are here where the season gets hot and heavy and take you on into playoff time. It's great to have you along once again this season.
You know, I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited that we do finally get underway. Week 5, we've got a little bit to talk about, kind of got to catch up a little bit, but you're right. The games really start counting when you get into the latter parts of September into October, and then we really have some fun on this show.
And we really have a good idea who's doing what through the first 4 weeks of the season. Unbelievably, we're already to week number 5 and the Whataburger Game of the Week. Here in week number 5, it's the battle for Rockwall. It's the Yellow Jackets of Rockwall High School against the Heath Hawks. And just look at those names. Braden Locke, Josh Hoover, what a quarterback matchup.
Man, these offenses know how to score points. The I-30 Classic has never been in better hands than it is this year. Rockwall coming in as really the dominant team in this series. Heath hasn't won since 2017. Rockwall won last year 38-27, but they were stunned last week in dominant fashion after 3 straight statement wins. I mean, they took down Cedar Hill and Lake Travis and Jesuit, whereas Heath, well, they haven't been stopped on offense really at all this year.
And let's hear from those Heath Hawks about this matchup against their neighborhood rivals.
Yeah, our kids know each other, grown up around each other. Golly, we play each other and everything.
It's a big rivalry. We've all grown up playing against each other since we were little kids, and so it's going to be fun.
We've known these guys all of our lives, so, you know, we grew up with them, played football with some of them, and I went to middle school with some of them, so it's awesome, you know, being able to go and play against them, just amazing.
It's a pretty intense rivalry, and we're the stepchild. We know that. I mean, Rockwall has been here for a long time, so we got to earn what we get.
Well, you look at this matchup, and these are two of the best teams really the last several years in the state. When you look at the offensive firepower that both Rockwall and Heath have. Rockwall last year, district champions. They had a 10-win season. And Heath was a regional finalist with a 10-3 season last year.
Yeah, you got to love this quarterback matchup. Braden Locke, now as a senior, he's been a prominent piece of the Texas high school football scene really since he stepped on campus at Rockwall and was on varsity. Already 1,200 yards passing, 11 touchdowns. The thing about Locke that has been surprising in 2021 is the 5 interceptions. He had just 6 picks all of 2020. He's already thrown 5 more. If he can take care of the football, he's going to put the Yellow Jackets in a great situation to win some football games. And then you look at Heath, led by Josh Hoover, the Indiana commit at quarterback. Only 24 incompletions through 100 passing attempts. So he's already completing close to 75 or over 75% of his passes. 14 touchdowns, and I really like Fair and Neighbors as a wide receiver duo. Those guys already D1 commits in their own right. This is a high-flying attack.
Yeah, college recruiters really like those players, too. So for Heath, you got the quarterback who's committed to Indiana, the running back Zach Evans, who is committed to Minnesota, and those 2 wide receivers, Jay Fair to Auburn and Jordan Neighbors to Baylor. What a matchup it will be, the Battle of Rockwall. All right, some other notable games that we need to get to. How about this one in District 5? 5-6A as the Lobos of Little Elm High School, the alma mater of one Cole Beasley, taking on the Prosper Eagles.
Yeah, you like Little Elm getting off to a great 4-0 start. You've got wins over LD Bell, North Forney, and then they take down a team like Plano West. This is the toughest test, though, for Coach Kendrick Brown on the 2020 campaign. This is a Prosper team that has had 6 playoff wins over the last 2 years. Still trying to find their rhythm without Jackson Berry at quarterback, but that offense has put up some massive points as of late. Just that one loss to Southlake opened up the season 31-0, but since then the offense has been clicking, and it looks like they're ready for another run.
And they got back on track last week with a 35-7 win over Arlington Lamar. Prosper does play very good defense. How about another rivalry matchup? How about the Mound Showdown? That would be in Flower Mound. It's the Flower Mound Jaguars against the Marcus Marauders. Brian Basil's Flower Mound team against Kevin Atkinson's Marauders.
And this Flower Mound team, don't believe the record. You see it there, 1-2. They routed Mesquite in week 1. They really went toe-to-toe at Highland Park, which nobody really does at Highlander Stadium. It was a one-possession game against a really, really good Highland Park ball club. And then last week they pushed Mansfield Timberview to the brink. So this is a good Jaguars team, whereas the Marauders are still favored in this game, and for good reason. You look at the balanced attack that they have on the ground and through the air. They're going to put up some points, and Flower Mound's going to have to combat that on the defensive side of the ball.
How about the talent that Flower Mound Marcus has at the receiving position? You've got Dallas Dudley, who is the son of Ricky Dudley, who is a first-round draft pick and played 9 years in the NFL, and Ashton Cozart as well, a transfer from the state of Washington, 6'3", 180 pounds, has an offer from Auburn, among other schools.
Yeah, this is still the Marauders offense that we've seen in the past. Even though it's not Garrett Nussmeier throwing the football a little bit, they're going to put up points, and they're going to test both the front 7 of the Jaguars defense and that secondary, I think, early on. And you're going to see the coaches get after a little bit, too. Very good coaching matchup.
Well, and when you think about it, the tradition there of the spread offense at Flower Mound Marcus, going back to the days, we're talking 25 years ago, and Chris Sanders, one of the early guys, and Kevin Atkinson was a part of that. Now, of course, the head coach at Flower Mound Marcus. And another game we want to get to, and that would be the Richland Royals playing at Colleyville Heritage. The Panthers of Coach Kirk Martin are off to a very fine start, and I really think that they're going to make a deep playoff run this year.
You know, I'm right there with you. I wrote it down right here. Coach Martin is building something at Colleyville Heritage. Yes, they have Weston Smith at quarterback, Hogan Wasson, who's been a legitimate wide receiving threat through the first couple years of his career with the Panthers, but it's that combination that really you expect them to rebound after a close loss last week against Trinity, where the Trojans really put the defense on the line. But don't count out this Richland squad so far. I really like what the Royals have done over the first couple weeks of the season. They're the only undefeated team left in District 4 5A Division 1, and they've put up 34-plus points in each of those 3 wins.
Well, and again, when you look at Colleyville Heritage, that game against Trinity last week, and of course, Trinity made a deep playoff run a year ago with Ollie Gordon at quarterback this year for them. They came back in that game and almost had a miraculous comeback, only falling to the Trojans by a score of 30-27. They opened the season with a lopsided 42-7 win over their rivals, the Grapevine Mustangs. We are just getting started on this edition of Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. We take a look at the showdowns at the Star, and in fact, Reedy High School in Frisco when we come back.
This segment was brought to you by Whataburger. Order online using the app or at Whataburger.com for curbside pickup from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. or delivery. This segment is brought to you by Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big.
Time for the showdowns at the Star, and we're just moments away from kickoff. Kyle Youmans calling this game tonight. On the NFHS network, it's Lake Dallas against Frisco Liberty.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Evan Stewart, one of the best wide receiving prospects, best prospects overall in the country, on display tonight. But how about the job for that Liberty coaching staff, going from 1-9 2 seasons ago to a 4-0 start for the first time since 2009. It's been a fun team to watch so far.
And the Friday showdown at the Star, the Lions of Reedy High School taking on the Knights of Independence High School. And you've got more on that one.
Yeah, the Reedy team that started 0-3. This is a team that had been really a big-time part of high school football in the area, had big seasons in 2017 and 2018, and then for the first time in program history, they started 0-3, but continued to look forward. Gone are the days of 2017 and 2018 at Reedy High School. The Lions started 0-3 and prepare to enter one of the toughest district slates in the state.
We had to replace quite a few pieces, so just like any high school football team, it takes a while to see the pros and cons of what the upcoming class is going to be.
Coach Chad Cole has a tough task of replacing 34 lettermen, 12 starters, and 3 Division I commits from the 2020 roster. However, one returner that could make a world of difference is third-year starting quarterback A.J. Padgett.
He knows the game of football now with those levels of experience, and that allows our coaching staff to make adjustments on the fly.
The Rice commit threw for over 2,200 yards and 20 touchdowns as a junior, but this year his eye is still set on team success despite a slow start.
My personal goals are really team goals. First things first, got to make it to the playoffs, and from there, make a run. So as long as we're winning games, I'm happy.
Padgett proved this mindset in Week 4 as he did not play, but his Lions still earned a 35-25 win behind backup quarterback Connor Ruff, giving Coach Cole some of what he's been looking for.
We've got a few answers. We're a little bit closer to finding out what our kids are made of, and we're going to have to show up every week and play with some tenacity.
It's a Reedy team that really does not get any easier schedule-wise going through the next couple weeks of the season. You have Independence tomorrow night, and then you turn around and play Lone Star. So they're going to have to come out with a gritty win, just like they did last week against Frisco Heritage. They trailed early in that game and were able to work their way back. But Coach Cole and company still feel confident that they can make a late push to the playoffs.
And, it's just amazing when you look at Frisco ISD and the number of schools in this district, and all those schools get an opportunity to play at some point during the season here at the Star.
Yeah, and they played last week on Thursday night at the Star, that game against Heritage, and it was a homecoming on a Thursday night, and it was a packed crowd. It was the coolest thing for high school students to be a part of.
All right, we continue with more Friday Night Stars in just a moment. A milestone moment for a Texas high school coaching legend.
This segment was brought to you by Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. This segment is brought to you by Whataburger. Stop on by Whataburger and try the patty melt today. It's an all-time favorite for a reason.
When it comes to milestones, Duncanville head football coach Reginald Samples hit a huge one. Last Friday, the Panthers beat DeSoto 42-21, giving Coach Samples career win number 300. The winningest African-American football coach in Texas UIL history now enters the exclusive 300 Victory Club.
Well, I am honored, and it's just a culmination of a lot of hard work and good players and a great coaching staff. So let's stay together, man. I'm proud of it. But one thing I do want to say is I'm proud of the coach part, not just the African-American, the coach part.
Keith Russell had an opportunity to chat with Coach Samples as he prepared for the milestone victory. Coach Samples celebrates each of his 300 wins, but he also reflects on the lessons he's learned when his team sometimes comes up short.
December 2018, Reggie Samples, on the wrong end of one of the most famous endings to a Texas high school state title game, would have broken some, but only made him stronger.
People have a lot of respect for how you handle things, or it could have been a bad situation. It was bad enough as it was. We didn't need to make it any worse.
Now with 300 wins for his career, he's already the winningest African-American football coach in UIL history. But that's not how he wants to be categorized.
People that know me, they say, well, he really doesn't care about that. And I do care about it, but I care about where I stand overall.
Samples has always stood for something that goes way beyond any victory ever will.
To develop young men and to hopefully help them have a path to success when they finish playing football.
It was Reggie's middle school coach, pictured here, who did that for him. That's why he calls this photo his most prized possession. Coach Samples admits his own father wasn't a part of his life, and that's why he's so willing to play as many roles as necessary for every young man who takes the field.
I wear that father hat. I wear that police hat. I wear a minister's robe. When you lead, you also have to show a little love. And in order to do that, you have to care about them.
Some have called him the godfather of North Texas football. Now you know why.
Imagine how many lives that Reginald Samples has touched in his coaching career. And just looking back at that Hail Mary pass against Galena Park North Shore in the state championship game at AT&T Stadium, it breaks our heart. You can only imagine what it does for the Samples family.
You're exactly right. And every player that he had been around previously. I had the pleasure earlier this season of calling the Duncanville and Mater Dei game. In Mater Dei, the Monarchs were the #1 team in the country going into that matchup. And Bruce Rollinson, who's a legendary coach in the California high school ranks, did nothing on our phone call but rave about Coach Samples. And it wasn't just what Coach Samples has done on the field. He has built a power at Duncanville, and the Panthers are certainly feared amongst all Texas high school football programs. But it's what he's done off the field that has been a bigger impact. And it hasn't been just at Duncanville, but at Lincoln High School and other schools across the area. He has left a lasting impact, and you can see it on the faces of him and his coaching staff and his players.
And by the way, Duncanville has bounced back since that season opening loss to the powerhouse from California with a 42-27 win over South Oak Cliff. And then last week, the 300th win, 42-21 over DeSoto. When we come back here on Friday Night Stars, the power programs in the area. Duncanville would be one, but how about some others? Last week, top-ranked Argyle beat 7th-ranked Waco La Vega 17-14 in a matchup of state-ranked Class 4A Division I teams. The victory extends Argyle's winning streak to 20 in a row. In fact, La Vega was the last team to beat Argyle back in the 2019 playoffs. Argyle, over the last decade or so, has definitely become one of the power programs, not only in North Texas, but in the entire state of Texas. As we welcome you back here to Friday Night Stars presented by Whataburger. Bill Jones with Kyle Youmans, and time to take a look at this week's power programs. I think the way we're going to set this up is each week we will give you 3 power programs that we have come up with, and the rules are non-existent.
No rules.
You can do whatever you want to with your power programs.
That's exactly how I love it, is no rules. So here are my 3 for week 5, going into week 5 of the Texas high school football season. And how about Denton Geyer? 2 of the biggest statement wins in the state, in my opinion. They won the crosstown rivalry a couple weeks ago against Denton Ryan, and then they followed up against the top 10 Itascasita team at Apogee Stadium, home of North Texas, and they did so in big-time fashion. They have been dominant ever since the start of the season, even despite replacing a couple key pieces from last year. Those other 2 programs I had on the list, Aledo, how can you not pick the champs and what they have done? A big win at Toyota Stadium a couple weeks ago against Lone Star, and then Highland Park, they had a big win over Rockwall last week. So I guess my power programs are all about statement wins early on in the Texas high school football season.
I love the way you rolled out Atascocita, the school from down in Humble that Geyer knocked off, and not to be confused with the Itasca-Wampus Cats.
Nope, different school. I got a ticket one time in Itasca.
We don't have time to get into that, but we do have time to get into my power programs, and I'm going to go with 3 unbeatens. And how about what the Carroll Dragons have done after Quinn Ewers leaves a week before the start of preseason workouts to go to Ohio State? They have been able to keep it going. Lovejoy Leopards at 4-0, and those Argyle Eagles as well at 4-0. Those are our power programs. It's our Landry Award watch when we come back.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger, was brought to you by Geico, 85 years of savings and service. Texas Lottery, play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. And by Whataburger. Order online using the app or at Whataburger.com for curbside pickup from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. or delivery.
All right, it's that time of year again. It's time to take a look at the Landry Award, our watch list, which we will have each week. But let's kick things off in our first show of this 2021 season, taking a look at the past Landry Award winners. The award goes to the top high school football player in North Texas, taking into consideration character, academics, and some of the other things away from the football field as well. Get a lot of recommendations every year from coaches and parents and fans alike, and I can't wait to dive into all the prospects again this year.
It's always an exciting process of looking along the way. You have the watch list come out, then you have the semifinalists and the finalists, and then you finally get to choose somebody for the award. And if you look down that list, there's not a single player on that list that wasn't deserving or wasn't a cornerstone for their program while they were at the prep level. So, I mean, anytime you want to look at who has been the best at high school sports in the area, that's the list to go to.
And by the way, on that list from last year, JoJo Earl, the winner last year, he's at the top of the depth chart for Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide at receiver this year. Jackson Smith in Jigba won it the year before. He's at the top of the depth chart and doing great things at Ohio State. Kennedy Brooks at Oklahoma. And then how about Kyler Murray and Myles Garrett? They've done some pretty good things since high school.
Yeah, a couple NFL players in there, and that's the award that they're going to chase after this year. And if you've won the award, you're a part of that prestigious group from here on out. It's kind of like the Heisman, but just at the high school level and in the Dallas area, it has that much storied history around it.
And it's the 12th year that we have the Landry Award, which will be given out in December. For Kyle Youmans, I'm Bill Jones. Thanks for joining us here for Friday Night Stars. You've got a football game to get to. Get inside that Ford Center.